Okay, YouTube. Hi, this is NexGen, Dana, and we have the Millennial Mogul, Danielle. And today we are having our very first YouTube Live. Now you know we're going to be talking about our first live tax lien option. Hey, YouTube. This is Dana and Danielle. We are here on our first live YouTube broadcast. And today we'll be talking about our experience with our first live tax lien option. Hi, Danielle. Thank you for being a part of this group.
Hi, no problem.
Okay. So, how we started out was that not all states have what we call tax liens. And I'll also leave a description below to actually talk about the difference between a tax lien and any other type of lien that may that states may use. So the tax lien states are Alabama, Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Maryland, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Jersey, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Vermont, West Virginia, and Wyoming, and the District of Columbia. All of these states have tax lien jurisdiction. And what we mean by tax lien jurisdictions is that by county, not by state, but by county, and in some cities, they need these tax monies to be able to pay to run their county. And when homeowners or business owners or property owners are not able to pay, then investors are allowed to come in and pay in the place of the property owner. And the property owner still retains the property, and they have a certain period of time to redeem. It's what we call redemption. So they have a certain period of time where they can pay the tax that they owe, as well as interest that they will also pass on to the investor who paid in their on their behalf. So the reason why we picked Maryland out of all the states that we could have selected is Maryland had one of the higher redemption rates, between 12 and 18%. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Danielle so she can kind of talk about what she was interested in doing as far as tax liens.
Hi, everyone. My name is Danielle. And as far as tax liens, I was just more or less interested in learning about different ways to acquire properties as well as develop another stream of income. Like I knew about wholesaling, I knew about flipping houses and things of that nature. But tax lien, as Dana brought tax lien to me, and I thought that was a very interesting perspective of um, how you can buy the tax lien, and if they redeem, you could gain the interest of the money, or you could, in some cases, you could also end up owning the house. So instead of buying a brand new house and going to a lot of debt, you could also maybe buy also get a house at a cheaper rate through the tax lien process. So it's just very interesting to see the different ways of how one can acquire property, attain property, and as well as make different multiple streams of income via property.
Okay, thank you, Danielle. Yes, that's true. The tax lien certificate, for example, in the state of Maryland, we actually went through three. We went through the Baltimore City and Howard County, and then Harford County. Those are the different ones that they have. Each county, each city has a different way of how they're going to conduct a tax lien. Some conduct it in person, and because of this environment, they would give a sealed bid, as they do in Howard County. Um, the other thing is in Harford County, it was basically a real auction where you can actually see other bids. And you can see other bids in Baltimore as well. So the first one we looked at, no, before, let me step back. One of the first things we did when we looked at tax lien certificates, as Danielle pointed out, if we pay, if the investor pays the taxes for the property owner, and the owner does not redeem the taxes to include what they owe plus any type of fees that comes with it, then the investor has the right to foreclose. Usually the process starts 4 months after they purchase the tax lien, and they actually can start foreclosure procedures 6 months after they make the payment. And they have up into 2 years to take that type of action. If not, any money that was invested or paid as far as taxes is being forfeited. And again, I will put that information in the description below if you wanted to get more information on Maryland specifically. So there is a way that you can get property. There's also a way, as Danielle pointed out, you can also get additional money. For example, as we said before, with Maryland, their rates are between 12 to 18%. So in Baltimore City, I believe, and Howard County, their range was between 18 and between 12 and 18%. So I think, how did it work when we were doing Baltimore City, Danielle? They actually, to participate, you had to register, and I'll go through that process. But one of the things we looked at is that we had to pay a fee to participate.
Right.
And I believe that fee was non-refundable. And that's one of the things that we looked at, we took into consideration, is if we made an offer or we made a bid in the auction and we didn't win, we would forfeit what, about $1,000, or was it $100? I can't remember.
It was $100.
Okay, so we would have forfeited $100. So from that, let's start with Baltimore. How did you guys come up with the properties that you wanted to look at, that you wanted to make a bid on?
So for my strategy, because we also have 2 other team members as well, so we went ahead and saw the properties that were listed on the website, and then from there we just split it up amongst ourselves. As for me and my strategy, what I was looking for was properties that look pretty well upkept, properties that I felt for the most part would more than likely redeem, because the whole point is that they redeem and you get the interest on it if they redeem the properties. So I saw on my list, I had some that were apartment complexes. I saw some condos, some were real nice houses in nice neighborhoods. That was pretty much more or less what I was looking for. Sometimes some was land as well. So things of that nature that I was looking for on my end, that, okay, what's the probability that someone, yes, will redeem this property?
Okay, you may have been muted in the beginning, Danielle. Could you explain the process from the time, so you received a list, correct?
Yeah, so we went to the tax lien website for that county, and then from there they have the properties listed. And so from there we just split it up amongst the team. And then I was going through, looking at the properties, looking up any back taxes, looking at the pictures of how the property looked, whether or not it was, like I said, apartment complex. More likely those are going to redeem. Like if it's an apartment complex, sometimes it gets on the list because maybe they had a change of management, and maybe the old management, they want to pay the top property taxes. So more likely the new management will come in and pay the property taxes, for example. That was one of the strategies I was using. And as well as just if it was nice houses, condos, more things of that nature I was looking for when I was searching for my set of list of properties.
Okay, and then the other thing that I noticed when you guys were looking at the properties, these are the Millennial Moguls, by the way. Danielle is part of the Millennial Moguls. So what you were doing is you were looking at the properties, because at one point it may come to the point where they didn't redeem and you may end up owning the property. So you wanted to have something that you would want to keep, in other words.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So that was nearby for the other Millennial Moguls to drive and see if that was something that they would want to be interested in. Also, we had a realtor on the team that was licensed in Maryland, correct?
Yes.
So she was able to help you with any questions that you might have about the property?
Yeah, she was able to help with that, and as well as we also did our own additional research. Where, like I said, we could go like on Google Maps or like Zillow or any type. We also see the property as well too. So we just did our research on our end, and if we need to, also reached out to her.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so once you selected the properties, did you put them in a kind of ranking order? Because you knew at one point we could be outbid. So I gave the Millennial Moguls a, what do you call it? A budget, if you will. And we had questions about that budget, didn't we?
Yes.
Because each county, each city had a different jurisdiction as far as what they call high bid.
Right. So what we did was when we came together, we all went through each other's properties of, hey, these are like my list of what I think is good. The other pros as well as went through their list. And then from there, looking at things from their list and as well as mine, we're like, okay, that one looks good. Hey, let's put this one here, let's put this amount here. And that's how we decided. So like I said, we divvied it up first, then we came together. And then from there, we made like a master list of, okay, this is how we want to rank up. And this is what we want to bid on, how much we want to bid on.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that each time you made a selection, you had to keep going to the website to make sure that it wasn't being redeemed, correct?
Yes, as well. That as well. So up until the day of the auction, people can redeem properties. So it wasn't just like, okay, we had a list of 5. We tried to get a decent amount because the list could very well, what we have on the list the next day, or or even that few hours, it could be someone could have redeemed it. Because ultimately, this is someone's property. This is somebody's where they're living. So most people are gonna want to have a place to stay. So they have up until the auction to redeem it. So that's why it's good to have a good amount of properties that you want to look at, because you never know when the actual auction day comes, your list that you have there might not be as many properties that you have on your list because they've been redeemed.
Yes, because I think on the list that you guys had selected, we had one where there was a hotel, a large chain hotel, and then there was another one that was it was a block of it was a 22 to 29 apartment complex. It was like a big size of row houses, and they actually had like almost 30 rentals in there.
Yes.
I think it was like $1.7 million. It was in one of the up and coming opportunity zone properties. So that was quite interesting. So as the properties that you selected was being redeemed, I think you guys had come to the conclusion that you were going to move on to another county.
Yes. So as they're being redeemed, we're still also looking at multiple counties as well, because the biggest season of the year is October, November, December is the biggest time that the counties have their tax liens. I think a lot of that has to probably do with maybe because of the holidays. So people are thinking, hey, we're out, again, celebrating the holidays, and I'll pay my taxes later. So it ends up going. So that's why it ends up going to the auction, or at least being on the tax lien list. And most people come next year when they actually get their taxes, they end up redeeming their properties. So it's usually right now around this time is the busiest season for tax liens. So we have a couple of other tax lien auctions that we're also looking for it as well. So it's like I said, it's all the time. It's all across the United States. Like it varies. Some, like these were the last ones we done, we're able to do it online. Some places, like where I actually live in Texas, some counties you have to physically go. They have an actual real auction where you have to actually go and bid, and they bid. But in this case, because of everything going on with the virus, some people have even canceled their auction. So it just varies, like I said, from county to county, state to state.
Well, yeah, you brought up a very good point, Danielle, because I think that a lot of the counties did move. So those that were normally offering the tax lien certificates in April were moving to June, and the June were moving to September. So that actually worked to our advantage because it gave us some time to do some homework.
Right.
So then we moved on to Howard County. And Howard County, I guess we thought it was going to be easier for us because it was sealed bid. Let's see, how did that turn out?
It went. We were, it was interesting. Like I said, that was one of the one had a pretty huge list, so it took us a while to go through it. As far as the seal bids, it was interesting because with the seal bids though, unfortunately we just couldn't see the price, so we weren't sure when we were getting outbid and we were just getting outbid by $1 or maybe it could have been a couple $1,000. So it just kind of it went it went. Like I said, we didn't do too well the first time, but it was again one of the first few experiences. But it was just it was just interesting seeing a seal bid, and a little bit just kind of disappointed we couldn't know how much the other person outbid us. But the good thing about it was, as well as they told you pretty much right away what you won. You didn't have to wait days and days. They told you within a few hours, yes or no, if you got it. So
Yes.
the turnaround was very quick.
Yes, that's right. And I think the other thing that was kind of a plus was the deposit in this case was $1,000 as opposed to 100 from Baltimore City. So Baltimore City, the 100 was non-refundable, but for the 1,000, it was refundable. Correct?
Yes. Yes.
So I guess what I'm hearing you say is that the only feedback you got was whether you won or not. You just didn't know by how much.
Right.
And since this was your first time bidding, you didn't even have previous years to look at to see how people were bidding, correct?
Exactly. Exactly
Okay.
that.
Okay, so now we come to Hartford County, which is a little bit north of Baltimore. So with Hartford County, what kind of strategy did you guys use for that?
We used a similar one. What I really liked about Hartford County is they had a very, very well done website. It was very efficient. It was very like the other places we had to kind of open up Google Maps. Like I said, go to Zillow, go to different, different places and search. Theirs was here's a list. And then they didn't have that many on the list. And it was all the information was just click a link. And it really was very well put together. My strategy as well was still the same. Again, what properties could be redeemed, what apartments, if by chance, let me see how the houses look. A couple of them had actually, like I said, as well as land properties. So I was like, that was interesting perspective as well, maybe being able to acquire some land. But what I like about Hartford as well was that it was a live auction. So we were able to see in real time as we're bidding and another person comes in, they outbid us, we could see by how much. So I really like that. That was very open, very easy, very user friendly.
Oh, okay. So what I do is, what people see on the screen now, is they actually see the Hartford County website. Now, one of the things that people may not know about the Hartford County, I'm going to go to it, is that when I scroll down, they actually have multiple counties. So there's Cecil County, Charles County, which is Southern Maryland. They have a demonstration, and they have Hartford County. So if you go on the state website, you can actually see when the counties or the city of Baltimore is going to be having their tax lien certificate offering. So the first thing you would have to do is to register. So you have a start here, and then you have a registration that you have to do. And the other thing that was very interesting is when you, I think Danielle had pointed this out, is that you can actually see the previous year's winners. So that was very beneficial, I think, to help with our strategy, correct?
Yes.
So it was a $100 fee to go into the tax lien certificate to be able to do the bidding. The other thing is that you had to read the instructions, because if you didn't read the instructions, you were going to get your feelings hurt. Because this was a live auction, everything was done. I think they had, how many did they have? They had like 700 properties. So they had to break them up in 200 property increments. So they did them in 30-minute bidding options, I think. So that was fast and furious. That was 90 minutes on Monday, right, Danielle?
Yes, correct. So yes, they had the different batches. So we already had our list. We had to go through and to make sure you still did. Like I said, when that 30 minutes hit, the website just stopped. It like it gave you like an error message, but it wasn't an error. I think it was just so that way people know that's it, that's the bid. You just refresh your screen and you go back into the next set of bids. So
Right. And what I liked about it is that they gave you, like you said, you had instant um, feedback as to whether your bid was going to be accepted or not. And like you said, in the 30-minute increments, if you were short, because I think we got beat by $1.
right.
So that was pretty interesting. And I did like that real-time feedback. So, so what we would do is we would go ahead and log in. So what I'm going to be showing the audience is after the bids. So I've already logged in. Hopefully it's still there. So what you had to do is definitely read the bidding rules. Then you had um, information as far as your bidder number. So, and then you also get, like I said, real-time feedback on what you could win. I think it took the screen off.
Yeah, I don't think the screen's not showing.
Right, but that's okay. So I think one of the things that if you go on the website, if you're one of the bidders, one of the good things is that you can go through and see the winning bidder. You can see how many times they bid, and you can actually see each time they made a bid. So let's say that I think on one of them, the one that we actually won, the tax that was due on it was $3,600. So you had to bid at least that much, but you couldn't bid any more than 3 times that amount, whatever that number is. But you can actually see it on the screen. That'll tell you. And so when we bid, I think we bid at least 3 times before they closed it and we found out that we won. But before we started going into doing the bid, did you notice when people were starting to bid 300%, which was the max?
Yeah, so some of the properties that we had on the list already from the gate, they were bidding 3 times as much. So it's like, wait a minute now. But like I said, even with that being said, it was good to see so we can know, oh, maybe that's how come we got outbid. We thought maybe before, maybe it was just a few dollars, a couple $100. But some people were actually from the jump bidding out the max. So it's like, okay, so we got to see some other people's strategies. So like I said, it was very interesting to see transparency, very interesting to see it in real time. So that way we could, fine tune our strategy for next time going in for the next bids that we do. But yeah,
Yes.
but it was interesting to see.
And I did, and I think, what was it, when we first went in to do the bids, the houses, the properties that we had selected was already taken. Like whenever they went to 300%, it blocked everybody else out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I did.
So I did call, I guess, the company, because I think they outsourced that process, and I asked them why were they doing that, and she said so that they can win. It was as simple as that. But I was like, well, I was wondering what would happen if they had to foreclose. How much money would they have to pay? And that's going to be the interesting. That's going to be the interesting part. So we won one of the properties. It was like 7.5 acres.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they did take the money out of our accounts. In case anyone's wondering, they took it right out.
Right. Immediately. So, they snatched it immediately.
Yes, ma'am. So I think what we're going to do next is we're actually going to be driving by the property just to take a look at it, because it's a nice piece of land. It's right in is in a residential area. So that was kind of interesting. So, all right. So I guess what we'll do is, as far as that auction is concerned, we just have to wait the 4 months, because what could happen, as you pointed out, in the 4 months is that it can be redeemed. Because from what I understand, based on the website, it said that they would notify the property owner that there was someone that has a tax lien certificate on that property. So now they have a decision to make as far as redemption is concerned.
Right.
So what things have you learned? What things that you like? What things that you not like?
Well, as far as Harford County, like I said, I really like the transparency. Like, it was really good to see again in real time how much we were outbid. And even with us, it was also fun to see, like, okay, they will put X amount, so we'll be, maybe put $10 more, $1 more, just to, seeing that real time back and forth that we saw was pretty cool. And as well as, again, seeing some strategy. Some people said, no matter what, hey, I'm gonna do the max amount. I want this property. So, so they bid 3 times the amount. So overall, I really like the way the website was set up. The even researching the properties was much easier this go around for me, and as well as being able to see a bid in real time, so that way I could, pivot my strategy as well moving forward. So it was good. The only thing I didn't like, I didn't like that they could put 3,000 3 times amount up front, but I get it. I mean, hey, they're trying to win. I understand, but I was like, oh, okay. So, well, overall, I would say there really wasn't nothing too bad that I said I didn't like. Of course, we wanted to win a few more, but I'm happy we did win something. But to me, just again, overall, I have more pros and cons. It was really just good just to be as transparent and seeing as we're learning, learning about this and going through the process. Okay, so it was all good. Very educational all the way around.
Well, I was thinking it was very interesting because you are in Texas,
mm-hmm.
and you're doing the bids from Texas, halfway across the country on the
Right.
East Coast. And I thought that was quite interesting.
Right. And then even learning, right, with tax liens, learning that, oh, okay, I don't have to live in the state or that county, and I could as well as acquire property. So that was, like I said, definitely good to learn. That know that, hey, you can do it from anywhere, and in different states and different counties. And like I said, the fact that it was online, anybody can do it. And so it's definitely another stream of income as well if you decide to want to do it. And it was just, like I said, it was just an interesting, like I said, perspective when it comes to housing and things of that nature of acquiring property. So it was good.
Okay. Well, what's on the agenda for the Millennial Moguls next?
We have to get to see, like I said, October, November, December, our big tax lien time. So we just got to get together and just see what other counties want to do, as well as other states that we want to do. And that's what's next so far on the agenda. Just continue learning and growing, and just see, hopefully we can win.
Well, great. Well, I again thank you very much, Millennial Mogul Danielle, for sharing your experience on your very first live tax lien auction. And I'm very pleased that you were able to win. So I guess next time I'm going to have you on to find out whether the property owner redeemed the property or whether you decided to pursue foreclosure procedures and how that process works.
Right. Yes, because this is just the beginning. So we won the tax lien. Now there's still more steps. So yes, I'm definitely excited about processing, of go ahead and tracking that journey and see how that works out in our favor. We won all the way around. So whether they redeem or not, we redeem. Hey, we win the interest. If not, we own some land. So it's good. It's wins all the way around.
Okay, great. Anything that you want to say to the millennial moguls out there that might be kind of nervous about, oh, this tax lien thing, it seems so difficult, it seems so hard. I have to have a lot of money.
You definitely don't. You just need to work with you and what's your budget. I mean, like I said, some tax liens, like I said, the registration fee is refundable, some isn't. So again, you got to work that with your budget. Stick to it, see what works best for you. I mean, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. As long as you learn and keep continuing to progress, you will come out winning.
Okay, great. Well, again, thank you for the East Coast, and I really appreciate you coming out and talking to us this evening.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a great evening.
Bye.